The signal and the response. The message came at 3:47 Earth Standard Time, crackling through 17 layers of quantum encryption and setting off alarms throughout the United Earth Defense Command headquarters in Geneva. Commander Iron Jung was reviewing tactical reports when her neural implant alerted her to the priority transmission. Her cup of synthetic coffee froze halfway to her lips as the message played through the command center speakers. This is New Haven Colony. We're under attack. Unknown hostiles. Our defenses are failing. They're breaking through the perimeter. Please, anyone. Static overwhelmed the signal, punctuated by distant explosions and screams that made Jung's skin crawl. We can't hold them. They're unlike anything we've... Oh God, they're inside the main hab. The transmission cut off abruptly. New Haven. Jung knew it well. Humanity's farthest colony, an ambitious outpost with nearly 12,000 civilians and a small security force. Located on the outer rim of explored space, it represented humanity's growing confidence in expanding beyond the solar system. And now it was under attack. Trace confirmation, Jung demanded, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Lieutenant Patel's fingers flew across his holographic interface. Confirmed, Commander. Signal origin is New Haven Colony. Transmission lag indicates it was sent approximately 49 hours ago. Alert Admiral Kowalski and initiate Echo Protocol. I want the Vanguard fleet ready for departure in 4 hours. As the command center erupted into controlled chaos, Jung knew this wasn't just another border skirmish or pirate raid. Something had found humanity's farthest outpost, and whatever it was, it had broken through defenses designed to withstand anything known to human military science. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge of the UES Thunderchild, the newest and most advanced warship in humanity's arsenal. Through the viewports, she could see the rest of Vanguard fleet assembling in Earth orbit, 7 warships, each representing the pinnacle of human military technology. The Thunderchild was the flagship, a sleek predator built not just for conventional warfare, but for the unknown threats humanity might face as they pushed further into the galaxy. All systems operational, Captain, reported Commander Jackson, her XO. Quantum drives primed and ready for transition. Reyes nodded, her dark eyes focused on the holographic display showing the fleet's formation. At 42, she had seen humanity fight and survive 3 interstellar conflicts. Her reputation was legendary. The captain who had never lost a ship under her command. Admiral on deck, announced the ship's eye, and the bridge crew snapped to attention as Admiral Victor Kowalski entered. At 65, Kowalski carried himself with the quiet confidence of someone who had spent a lifetime making impossible decisions. His steel-gray hair was cropped short, and the cybernetic replacement for his left eye glowed faintly blue as it constantly processed tactical data. At ease, he said, moving to stand beside Reyes. I assume you've all been briefed on the situation at New Haven. Yes, Admiral, Reyes replied, though the intelligence is limited. Kowalski nodded grimly. What we know is this. 49 hours ago, New Haven Colony sent out a distress call reporting an attack by unknown hostiles. Since then, all communication with the colony has ceased. He gestured, and a holographic map of the star system containing New Haven appeared. The colony is located 23 light-years from Earth. With our advanced quantum drives, we can reach it in approximately 72 hours. Any intelligence on what we might be facing, sir? Asked Commander Jackson. Nothing definitive. New Haven's automated defense systems transmitted some fragmented data before going offline. Dr. Miyazaki and her team are analyzing it now, but preliminary findings suggest we're dealing with something that doesn't match any known species in our database. A chill silence fell over the bridge. Humanity had encountered several alien civilizations since achieving faster-than-light travel a century ago. Most were peaceful, more interested in trade and cultural exchange than conflict. A few had been hostile, but none had ever managed to overwhelm a colony's defenses so quickly. Captain Reyes, Kowalski continued, "You have operational command of this fleet. Your primary objectives are to secure New Haven, rescue any survivors, and identify the hostile force. If the threat remains present, you are authorized to use maximum force to neutralize it." "Understood, Admiral. I need not remind you all of what's at stake," Kowalski said, addressing the entire bridge. "New Haven represents the furthest reach of human civilization. If it falls without response, we send a message to every hostile force in the galaxy that humanity cannot protect its own. We cannot, will not, allow that to happen." Kowalski turned to leave, then paused. "One more thing. The Thunderchild carries the prototype NOVA weapon system. It's never been field-tested in combat. Let's hope today isn't the day we need to find out if it works." As Kowalski departed, Rice turned to her crew. "Battle stations. Prepare for quantum transition." Minutes later, the 7 ships of Vanguard fleet accelerated away from Earth, their quantum drives engaging simultaneously in a brilliant flash of controlled energy. They vanished into the void, carrying humanity's finest warriors toward an unknown enemy. The journey to New Haven took 71 hours at maximum quantum speed, a voyage that would have taken conventional ships months. During that time, Captain Rice and her crew prepared for every possible scenario they might encounter. In the ship's tactical center, Rice reviewed the colony's defenses with her senior officers. "New Haven was established 5 years ago," she explained, highlighting the orbital platforms and ground-based defense systems. "It has had a security force of approximately 200 personnel and automated defense systems designed to repel conventional attacks." "What about the civilians?" asked Lieutenant Commander Diaz, the ship's tactical officer. 11,834 at last census, replied Chief Science Officer Dr. Sarah Chen. "Mostly scientists, engineers, and their families. The colony was primarily a research outpost focused on xenobiology and astrophysics. And now potentially all dead," said Commander Jackson grimly. "Or worse." Reyes's jaw tightened. "We don't know that. New Haven has multiple hardened bunkers designed to withstand orbital bombardment. If the civilians made it to those shelters, they could have survived." "Captain," Dr. Chen interjected, "I've been analyzing the fragmentary data transmitted before the colony went dark. There's something unusual about the energy signatures recorded during the attack." "Unusual how?" Chen manipulated the holographic display, showing a spectrum analysis. "These energy patterns don't match any known weapons technology, human or alien. They seem to operate on principles that, well, frankly, they shouldn't be possible according to our current understanding of physics." A heavy silence fell over the room. They were heading into combat against an enemy with technology they didn't understand. "We adapt," Rice said firmly. "That's what humans do. Whatever we face at New Haven, remember this: humanity has survived and thrived because of our ability to adapt faster than any other species we've encountered. Keep that in mind as we prepare for arrival." As Vanguard fleet approached the New Haven system, tension filled the Thunderchild's bridge. The ship dropped out of quantum space first, sensors immediately scanning the area. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Commander Diaz as the main view screen displayed the scene. Where New Haven colony once orbited the blue-green world designated H7, there was now only debris. Fragments of the orbital platforms were scattered across thousands of kilometers, some pieces still glowing from internal fires. "Life signs," Rice demanded, her voice tight. "Scanning," reported the sensor officer. "I'm detecting, yes, faint life signs from the planet's surface. Multiple emergency bunkers appear to be intact. Approximately 3,000 signatures. 3,000 out of nearly 12,000. Rice felt a surge of anger, but kept her expression neutral. "Launch rescue shuttles immediately. Get those survivors aboard." As the rest of Vanguard fleet arrived, they formed a protective perimeter around the rescue operation. Specialized teams in advanced craft navigated the planet's atmosphere, locating and retrieving the survivors from their shelters. Dr. Chen approached Rise, her tablet displaying unusual readings. Captain, we're detecting residual energy signatures throughout the debris field. They match the patterns from the transmitted data, but they're much clearer now. Whatever weapons were used against New Haven, they're unlike anything in our database. Before Rice could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple contacts, shouted Dias, emerging from behind NH7's moon. On the main view screen, dark shapes appeared, ships with hulls that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. They moved with unnatural precision, spreading out in attack formation. Count 23 vessels, reported Dias. Configuration unknown. All ships, battle stations, Rise commanded, her voice calm despite the situation. Defensive formation Delta. Shields at maximum. Vanguard fleet responded instantly, shifting positions to create overlapping fields of fire while maintaining protection for the rescue vessels still returning from the planet's surface. They're scanning us, reported Dias. Intense energy probes sweeping the fleet. Let them look, said Reyes. I want to see what they do next. The answer came moments later as the alien vessels accelerated, weapon ports opening along their hulls. They're firing. Streams of what looked like liquid darkness erupted from the alien ships, crossing the void toward the human fleet. They moved unlike any weapons the bridge crew had ever seen, shifting trajectory mid-flight, splitting into multiple projectiles. Evasive maneuvers, ordered Reyes. The human ships responded with incredible agility, their advanced propulsion systems allowing them to dodge most of the incoming fire. The few hits that landed splashed against their shields, which flared bright blue under the impact. Shield analysis, demanded Reyes, watching as data poured in. It's some kind of energy-draining weapon, reported Dr. Chen, her voice urgent. The shields are holding, but each hit reduces capacity by 22%. They're designed to siphon power. Reyes's eyes narrowed. So they want to drain us dry before moving in for the kill. She turned to Dias. Target their lead vessels. Weapons free. Vanguard fleet responded with devastating synchronization. Thunderchild's main weapon, a particle cannon capable of reconfiguring its output based on target defenses, fired first. The beam struck the lead alien vessel, its sensors analyzing shield resonance in real time and adjusting frequency to maximize penetration. The alien ship's defenses flared, then failed as the beam cut through its hull. Two more Vanguard ships fired their weapons, coordinated through quantum-entangled targeting systems. 3 alien vessels exploded in silent bursts of light and debris. For a moment, it seemed the human counterattack had caught the aliens by surprise. Then the remaining enemy ships adjusted their formation, concentrating their fire on the UES Valiant, the smallest ship in the human fleet. Valiant shields failing, reported Dias. They've lost engines. Cover them, ordered Reyes. Odysseus and Phoenix, provide suppressing fire. We need to buy time for the rescue operations to complete. As the battle intensified, Reyes studied the enemy tactics. The alien ships moved with a coordination that suggested a hive mind or extremely advanced AI control. Their weapons were devastating but seemed to require a brief recharge after firing, a weakness that could be exploited. New contacts, shouted the sensor officer. 30+ vessels emerging from quantum space. Reyes felt her heart sink. They were already outnumbered, and now, it's the Orion fleet, exclaimed Commander Jackson, relief evident in his voice. Earth must have dispatched reinforcements when they lost contact with us. On the view screen, a new formation of human warships appeared, led by the massive dreadnought UES Orion. They immediately engaged the alien forces, their arrival shifting the battle's momentum. The alien ships began to withdraw, regrouping behind NH7's moon. Captain, said Dr. Chen urgently, I've been analyzing their retreat pattern. They're not just regrouping. They're calling for reinforcements. These quantum fluctuations suggest they're using some kind of faster-than-light communication. Reyes nodded grimly. Then we need to finish this before their friends arrive. Signal Admiral Chen on the Orion. We're going to need coordination for what comes next. As the alien fleet disappeared behind the moon, Rise knew the battle was far from over. This was just the beginning of humanity's response to the attack on New Haven. And whatever these aliens were, they were about to learn a painful lesson about humanity's resolve. Humanity unleashed. Aboard the medical bay of the UES Thunderchild, Captain Alina Reyes listened to the harrowing account of Dr. Maya Patel, one of the survivors from New Haven Colony. The woman's hands trembled as she spoke, her eyes haunted by memories no human should have to bear. They came without warning, Dr. Patel explained, her voice barely above a whisper. Our long-range sensors detected nothing until they were practically on top of us. The orbital defense platforms lasted less than 10 minutes. Can you describe them? Rise asked gently. Did anyone see what they looked like? Patel nodded slowly. Those of us in the deep bunkers saw the security feeds before they cut out. They're not like anything we've encountered before. Vaguely humanoid, but their bodies seem to shift and flow, almost like they're not entirely solid. And their ships, their technology. It's like they're manipulating darkness itself. Dr. Chen, who had been quietly observing, leaned forward. Dr. Patel, you were the lead xenobiologist at New Haven. In your professional opinion, what are we dealing with? We called them the Void Collective, Patel replied. Based on what little data we gathered, they appear to be a composite species, multiple life forms merged into a collective consciousness. Their technology isn't just advanced. It operates on principles that seem to violate our understanding of physics. They don't just use energy. They manipulate the absence of it. Negative energy manipulation, murmured Chen, her mind racing. That would explain the weapon signatures we detected. Rice processed this information with the calculated precision that had made her reputation. Did they communicate? Make any demands? None, said Patel. They simply began exterminating us. But she hesitated. During the attack, some of our researchers managed to capture data on their energy patterns. We noticed fluctuations, vulnerabilities, when they were exposed to certain radiation frequencies. I uploaded the data to my personal quantum cache before we evacuated to the bunkers. For the first time since the battle began, Rice felt a spark of hope. Dr. Patel, that information could be invaluable. Dr. Chen will work with you to analyze it immediately. As the scientists departed, Commander Jackson approached. Captain, Admiral Chen has called a strategy conference in 20 minutes. All ship captains and tactical officers. Reyes nodded. It's time to plan our counterattack. The conference room aboard the UES Orion hummed with tension as holographic displays showed the positions of both fleets. Admiral Mai Chen, a veteran of 3 interstellar conflicts, stood at the head of the table, her weathered face illuminated by the tactical displays. The situation is clear, Admiral Chen stated without preamble. We face an unknown species with technology that gives them a significant advantage. They've already destroyed one of our colonies and inflicted heavy damage on our forces. But, her eyes narrowed, they've also revealed their intentions. This was not a misunderstanding or a territorial dispute. This was a deliberate act of aggression against civilian targets. Captain Rice stepped forward. Admiral, we've received critical intelligence from a survivor. Dr. Chen and our science team are analyzing it now, but preliminary findings suggest the enemy has a vulnerability to specific radiation frequencies. Admiral Chen's expression remained impassive, but a glint of interest appeared in her eyes. Elaborate. The Void Collective, that's what the New Haven scientists called them, use technology based on negative energy manipulation. Their weapons, their shields, possibly even their propulsion systems all operate on the same principle. But when exposed to certain radiation frequencies, their energy patterns become unstable. Lieutenant Commander Dias continued, we believe we can modify our weapons to emit these frequencies, potentially disrupting their technology. But there's a catch. We need to get close to do significant damage, much closer than conventional naval engagement ranges. You're proposing a close-quarters battle against an enemy with superior firepower," questioned Captain Hammond of the UES Phoenix, skepticism evident in his voice. "I'm proposing we use humanity's greatest strength," Rise replied firmly. Adaptation. Throughout history, whenever humans have faced technologically superior opponents, we've found ways to even the odds. The Void Collective may have advanced technology, but they've shown no creativity in their tactics. They rely on overwhelming force rather than strategic thinking. Admiral Chen considered this for a moment. "What specifically are you suggesting, Captain Reyes?" "A three-pronged strategy. First, we modify our weapons using Dr. Patel's data. Second, we use our superior tactical flexibility to force them into a position where their numerical advantage is neutralized. And third," Rise hesitated, then committed, "we deploy the NOVA prototype." A murmur ran through the assembled officers. The NOVA weapon system was highly classified, a theoretical device designed to create a localized disruption in space-time. "The NOVA hasn't been field-tested," reminded Admiral Chen. "Neither had quantum drives until someone needed to use them in combat," countered Rise. "Admiral, we're facing an existential threat. If the Void Collective can destroy New Haven, they can reach Earth. We need every advantage we can get." After a long moment, Chen nodded. "Very well. You have 6 hours to prepare your modifications and finalize the tactical plan." Dismissed. The science labs aboard the Thunderchild buzzed with frantic activity as Dr. Chen and her team worked alongside Dr. Patel to modify the ship's weapon systems. Holographic displays showed molecular structures and energy wave patterns as the scientists raced against time. "The modulation needs to be precise," Dr. Patel explained, adjusting parameters on a simulation. "Too narrow a band, and it won't affect their systems. Too broad, and will disperse the energy too widely to be effective." Dr. Chen nodded, her fingers dancing across the interface. "What about the NOVA device? Can we integrate these modifications into its deployment sequence?" "Theoretically, yes," replied Dr. Patel after a moment's consideration. "The NOVA creates a controlled quantum singularity. If we can seed that singularity with particles tuned to the disruption frequency, we could create a cascading effect throughout their entire fleet," finished Chen, excitement building in her voice. "But the calculations would have to be perfect. A miscalibration could result in the singularity expanding beyond our control." "Then we'll make them perfect," said a new voice. Captain Rice had entered the lab silently. "How close are we?" "We've successfully modified the Thunderchild's main particle cannon," reported Chen. "The other ships are implementing the changes now. As for the NOVA," she hesitated. "The integration is possible, but risky." Ray's moved to the holographic display, studying the complex equations that represented humanity's most advanced weapon. "What's the estimated effectiveness if everything works as planned?" "Against their current fleet?" "Nearly total," said Dr. Patel. "But Captain, there's something else you should know. Based on the energy signatures we've detected, we believe the ships we've encountered are merely a scouting force. If they've called for reinforcements, then we need to make sure they don't get the chance to arrive." Rice finished grimly. "Modify the NOVA. I'll take responsibility for the decision." As Rice left the lab, Commander Jackson fell into step beside her. "The fleet is in position, Captain. Admiral Chen has approved the tactical plan. We'll be ready to execute on your command." Rice nodded, her mind already processing the coming battle. "And the survivors from New Haven?" "All secure. The medical ships have jumped to safety. It's just us and the Void now." "Good." Rice stepped onto the bridge, where her crew waited at battle stations. Through the viewports, she could see the rest of the human fleet arranged in attack formation. "Open a channel to all ships." As the communication officer complied, Rice took a moment to survey her bridge crew, human faces set with determination, eyes that showed fear but also resolve. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. All ships, this is Captain Reyes. In a few minutes, we will engage an enemy that believes it can exterminate humanity with impunity. They destroyed New Haven Colony and murdered thousands of civilians, believing we would be too weak or too frightened to respond with appropriate force. Her voice hardened. They were wrong. Throughout our history, humanity has faced countless threats to our existence. Each time, we have not merely survived, we have emerged stronger. Today will be no different. She paused, letting her words sink in. Our plan is simple but requires perfect execution. Battle groups Alpha and Beta will engage the enemy's flanks, forcing them to commit their reserves. Battle Group Gamma will then strike directly at their center with modified weapons. Once they're fully committed, Thunderchild will deploy the NOVA device. Some of us may not return from this mission, but those we lost at New Haven deserve justice, and Earth deserves defenders willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. Whatever happens next, remember this. Today, we fight not just for those we lost, but for all humanity. As she finished speaking, sensors detected movement from behind NH7's moon. The Void Collective was emerging, their dark ships forming a phalanx that blotted out the stars behind them. They've added to their numbers, reported Dias. 43 vessels now, including 3 that appear to be command ships. Reyes nodded, unsurprised. All ships, execute battle plan Thanatos, weapons free. The human fleet surged forward, dividing into the planned battle groups. Alpha and Beta accelerated toward the enemy flanks, their modified weapons ready. The Void ships responded predictably, spreading out to engulf the human attackers in their superior numbers. What followed was chaos. Weapons fire crisscrossed the Void as ships maneuvered at speeds that would have pulverized any organic crew without inertial dampeners. The modified human weapons struck with devastating effect, causing Void ships to convulse with energy disruptions before exploding. But the Void Collective adapted quickly. Their ships began to emit pulses that partially neutralized the human modifications, and their superior numbers started to tell. 2 human cruisers exploded under concentrated fire, and a third was crippled, venting atmosphere. They're countering our modifications, reported Dias, his voice tight. Effectiveness down to 64% and falling. Reyes watched the tactical display, waiting for the perfect moment. The Void fleet had fully committed to the battle now. Their formation spread thin as they pursued the elusive human ships. Now, she ordered, signal Gamma Group to execute their run. Battle Group Gamma, which had been holding position behind a debris field, suddenly accelerated directly toward the center of the Void formation. The enemy ships reacted immediately, turning to face this new threat. Exactly as planned. NOVA status, demanded Reyes. Integration complete, replied Dr. Chen from the science station. Delivery system ready. Helm, set course directly for the largest enemy command ship. Maximum speed. The Thunderchild leaped forward, its advanced engines pushing it faster than any other vessel in the human fleet. It streaked toward the heart of the enemy formation, weapons firing continuously to clear a path. Enemy vessels converging on our position, warned Dias. They've identified us as the primary threat. As expected, said Reyes calmly. Divert all power from non-essential systems to shields and engines. We need to get closer. The ship shuddered as enemy fire impacted its shields, but it continued its headlong rush toward the massive Void command vessel. Around them, the battle raged, human ingenuity fighting against alien technological superiority in a deadly dance. No VA deployment range in 30 seconds, announced Dr. Chen. Reyes keyed the fleet-wide communication channel. All human vessels, execute emergency quantum jump on my mark. Coordinates already programmed. The Thunderchild closed with the Void command ship, now so close that its immense bulk filled the viewports. Energy weapons slashed at the human vessel, shields flickering as they absorbed the punishment. No VA deployment range achieved, reported Chen. Release the device, ordered Reyes. All ships, Emergency jump. Mark. As the NOVA device hurtled toward the Void command ship, the human fleet vanished in a series of quantum flashes, reappearing at a safe distance from the impending detonation. On the Thunderchild's main screen, they watched as the tiny NOVA device made contact with the Void vessel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a pinpoint of brilliant light appeared, rapidly expanding into a sphere of pure energy. The modified particles did their work, interacting with the Void's negative energy technology and creating a cascading reaction that spread from ship to ship. In seconds, the entire enemy fleet was engulfed in the expanding sphere. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the sphere collapsed in on itself, leaving nothing but scattered debris where the Void fleet had been. Silence fell across the Thunderchild's bridge, broken only by the soft beeping of sensors confirming what their eyes could see. Total victory. Scan for survivors, Rise ordered, her voice subdued. Even against an enemy as merciless as the Void Collective, there was no joy in such wholesale destruction. No life signs detected, reported the sensor officer after a moment. The NOVA device worked exactly as designed. Rise nodded slowly. Signal Admiral Chen. The threat has been neutralized. As the fleet regrouped and prepared to return to Earth, Rise stood at the viewport, gazing at the distant stars. The victory had been complete, but the cost had been high, both in lives lost at New Haven and in the knowledge that humanity was not alone in the galaxy, and not all their neighbors were friendly. Yet she felt a fierce pride in what they had accomplished. Faced with a technologically superior enemy, humanity had done what it always did: adapted, improvised, and overcome. It was that resilience, that refusal to accept defeat, that had allowed humans to survive and thrive throughout their history. "Captain," said Commander Jackson quietly, joining her at the viewport, "Admiral Chen reports that the New Haven survivors are already talking about rebuilding. They want to return to the planet and start over." Rise smiled slightly. "Of course they do. That's what humans do, isn't it? We fall, we get back up, and we build something better than what was lost." As the fleet set course for Earth, Rise knew that this encounter with the Void Collective might be only the beginning of a larger conflict. But whatever came next, humanity would face it with the same determination and ingenuity they had always shown. The distress call from New Haven had been answered with humanity's wrath, and any species foolish enough to threaten Earth or its colonies in the future would meet the same response: the full, unbridled might of a species that had clawed its way from a single planet to the stars through sheer determination and refusal to surrender. That was humanity's true strength, not technology or weapons, but the indomitable spirit that drove them to overcome any obstacle, any enemy, any challenge the universe might throw at them. And that, Rise knew, was a power no alien species should ever underestimate.